As the lights go down and the voices become louder, the world's focus shifts back to one of hip-hop's most controversial figures, Chrisean Rock. But this time, it's not about a brawl on Instagram Live, a turbulent separation with Blueface, or a backstage meltdown that went public. No, this storm is different because court documents that were hidden in the dark have surfaced. They also don't just casually bring up Rock's name. They punctured her newborn, the most vulnerable part of her cosmos. It's spreading like wildfire. Was CPS involved? Do the shocking documents really include information on her role as a mother? Or is this just another case of public crucifixion fueled by gossip blogs and #toxic headlines? Tonight, we'll be peeling back the layers, organizing amongst the chaos, and reveal the actual importance of those shocking records for Chrisean Rock, her child, and the kingdom she's desperately trying to protect. The story begins in a kind of silence that is more stifling than audible. Chrisean Rock, the feisty, bold competitor on Blueface's infamous Blue Girls Club, was no stranger to chaos. She was adored by the cameras. The fights, the tears, the confessions, the unrepentant wildness, all of this made for viral content. But in between the flashy lights and trending hashtags, Chrisean went beyond reality TV headlines. She had a kid. Her Blueface son, Chrisean Jesus Malone Jr., was supposed to arrive and change the narrative. Her words, "This baby wasn't just a child, he was a miracle. A chance to make amends, a start over for a life that has spiraled into scandals, arrests, and turbulent loves." For the first time, they saw her holding something delicate instead of breaking something combustible. She was meant to be grounded, softened, and maybe even freed from the terrible roller coaster that was her relationship with that Blueface when she became a mother. The leaks then began. It started out small. Rumors on Reddit threads and hazy. Screenshots going viral on Twitter claimed that CPS paid Chrisean a visit. At first, it seemed like old-fashioned internet hyperbole. She and Blueface had, after all, been the focus of rumors. But the suspicions intensified when a secret court document began to circulate. Chrisean's living status, her competence as a guardian, and even the custody arrangements for her child had all been questioned, according to the official stamped paperwork. This was not tabloid gossip anymore. This tale has the capacity to destroy people's reputations, and the audience answered. Some rushed to her aid. The system consistently undermines Black mothers. Not everybody was so sympathetic. She has no control over even her relationship with Blueface. How is she going to manage a baby? Prayer for Chrisean and CPS leaks were trending hashtags. Suddenly, everyone was well-versed in family law. Everyone had an opinion, and the court of public judgment was in full session. However, this is where things become complicated. There was no clear-cut description of abuse or neglect in the records. Instead, they portrayed anarchy, one in which police investigations were tainted by arguments between Blueface and Chrisean. One where concerns about stability were raised by frequent transfers and public disagreements. One in which the baby was caught between two parents who were full of drama. Is Chrisean devoted to her kid? Was not a question for the state. That much was undeniable. In the face of constant chaos, is love enough? And that's where the cinematic effect of this sequence is felt. Think about a young mother with tattoos that are still visible on her body who is trying to juggle her goals of being a musician, toxic relationships, viral fame, and the unforeseen duties of parenting. Meanwhile, the world watches every mistake, every outburst, every scream. Chrisean Rock's voice became louder in the storm, but picture the pressure she was under. Imagine someone sliding a stack of court documents that said, "We're not sure your baby is safe here." She sobbed as she added, "I'm not perfect, but don't you dare say I don't take care of my baby on Instagram Live. Don't you dare." The rawness of that moment was evident. Fans sliced it, shared it, and examined it. Was it authentic? Was that a separate program? Was she merely a distressed mother attempting to show the world wrong? On the other hand, Blueface didn't keep silent. He made sure to interject commentary throughout attacks by highlighting the fact that he had always been the reliable father and that Chrisean wasn't ready for responsibility. The bloggers ate it up and it fanned the fires. He perceived it as a chess move where he was positioned as the calm of the storm. She saw it as betrayal. The formerly faithful man has changed prosecutor in the court of public opinion. The leaks, the live feeds, and the court filings, when united, they formed a perfect storm. All of a sudden, Chrisean Rock's experience as a mother was more than just her personal struggle. The situation became humorous. There were other worries besides the baby's safety. They wanted popcorn while they waited for the next explosion. But here's the real twist. Behind the flashing headlines and trending hashtags, a human story was still being told. Mother clinging to her son. A woman trying to navigate a system that takes more than it gives and decides whether drama is synonymous with risk and stardom. And if the first release caused a stir on the internet, this was only the start. It would be shattered to bits by what came next. The second shockwave was not brought on by Twitter threads or whispered gossip sites. The source was the court itself. It was impossible to dismiss the shocking court documents that were made public as fake news since they were clear-cut. They were stamped, signed, and verified. On the inside, the words were devastating but callous and clinical. It detailed incidents where authorities questioned if Chrisean Rock's chaotic lifestyle could sustain a newborn. To the casual followers who were looking on Instagram, it seemed like just another headline. But for anyone who has studied the development of these cases, it was the beginning of something far darker. The state is interfering with her child's life. In addition to Chrisean's own behavior, the documents also referenced Blueface's continued involvement. Their tumultuous past, complete with yelling fights, injuries, arrests, and the on-again, off-again cycle of toxic love that had turned into a public spectacle, had been exposed by live streams, blogs, and police records. The identical circumstances did not amuse the police. They saw instability, thus monitored visits, possible reevaluations of custody, and most damning of all, a review of whether the child should truly remain in Croydon's custody were all mentioned in the records. Take a moment to imagine the scenario in the movie where a young mother is pacing her apartment and using a phone that is ringing with notifications to go through release data. Bright screen. Outside, paparazzi shout questions. Snake emojis were shared online by trolls. Inside, her boy sleeps soundly, innocent and ignorant. To Chrisean, this went beyond simple conversation. The fight for her child's future was being waged in real time in front of millions of people. But subtleties aren't enough for the internet. When the news broke, fans split into two factions. One side of the controversy accused Blueface of orchestrating the leaks to portray Chrisean as unworthy. This is how guys behave when they can't control you. In a tweet, one fan used the hashtag #ProtectBlackMothers. Someone else wrote, Blueface has been trying to take that baby away from her. On the other side, there were doubters. Don't be duped by him. She's crying, fighting, and running around all the time. Does the baby have a stable place to live there? The conversation had shifted from Chrisean Rock to other subjects. Discussion subjects included motherhood, double standards, and the way society scrutinizes women, particularly those in the spotlight. Fans who desired answers tagged celebrities. Even vlogs with millions of viewers each, such as At The Shade, Room, and At Hollywood Unlocked, contributed to the fire. Chrisean also did not sit quietly. She returned to life, burning and almost trembling with rage. Do certain documents give the impression that I don't care for my child? I've been the one to hold him, feed him, and keep him up all night. Where is his father when it's time to change the diapers? Where is Blueface when my son cries? I've been here. Don't play with me. Don't play with my youngster, please. It was glowing in the comment section. Supporters showered her with "We love you, Chrisean Jr.," while critics made fun of every remark she made. To them, it was just another viral failure. To her, it was war, and that was all Blueface. Among his enigmatic tweets were the following: My son's best interests are my primary concern. It was betrayal turned public humiliation for Chrisean, and fans saw it as dishonest, a subtle swipe at him, presenting him as the responsible father. In response, she tagged Blueface directly, making it more than just a disagreement between two parents. Stop acting like you've been there. The baby, who never asked for drama, celebrity, or hashtags, was caught in the middle again. As word spread that CPS investigators had been in contact with Chrisean's family, the tension in the movie grew. Stop acting like you care now that the court is watching. It was a show. Social media is being used by both sides as a weapon and a shield. Some said that her siblings were questioned, while others said that neighbors were asked about loud noises and late-night arguments. Whether true or not, the rumors fueled the fires, and it was no longer just Chrisean versus Blueface. Chrisean was against the system, but her loyalty was the one thing that was undeniable. Chrisean posted videos of herself rocking her baby to sleep, kissing his forehead, and whispering prayers behind the glamorous lives and trending headlines. These quiet moments didn't trend as much, but they sent a clear message. A mother's desperate attempt to demonstrate her superiority over the chaos around her daughter. It was no longer just a controversy. Though, as the court filings began to throw a shadow, with storm clouds hovering above leaked phrases like unstable environment and parental fitness hearing, fans murmured, but is she losing her baby? They also said, why isn't he fighting for custody instead of clout? Whenever she smiled in public. When Blueface posted in the studio, time was running out because if the files are real and the court moved forward, the next news might not be about a leak. A decision might be at stake, and if that decision is made, everything could change. What began as a whisper storm had now intensified into a hurricane. Once the story was picked up by major media outlets like TMZ, BET, and Complex, there was no turning back. The name Chrisean Rock was not only well known, it was prominently displayed on all screens, timelines, and headlines, but behind the comments, hashtags, and memes, something far more important was happening: the truth of a court case that might define her motherhood. The damage had already been done by the leaked court documents. The courtroom itself was not visible to the public. It is a sterile setting where judges asked pointed questions, caseworkers scribbled notes, and attorneys argued. Outside, cameras flashed as fans and critics waited for updates, and Chrisean felt as if she was on trial for her whole personality, not just her parenting. All of the footage, including her yelling at Blueface, her stumbling out of a party, and her tirade about betrayal, was bundled into a story about instability. The tragedy of celebrity lies in the fact that her former charm, amusement, and viral success now worked against her. Every mistake, every online argument, and every live tear was evidence that she loved her son. Blueface's shadow, on the other hand, hung over the case. He wasn't flawless, but his strategy was clear. He should project an air of composure and superiority. He took on the role of the responsible dad, spoke cautiously, and posted less frequently. However, fans didn't buy it. One user wrote, "You started this chaos." Others backed him by tweeting, "At least he's trying to step up." Their battle was not just legal, but also psychological warfare, and it was being fought in front of millions of people. Chrisean accused him of using the system as a weapon. "Now you want to play victim," he wrote beneath his most recent post against her. He said she was too sentimental to raise their son. During all of this, the story took a dramatic turn when a new leak emerged, this time from Chrisean rather than CPS specifically. In private documents that were later made public online, she wrote a heartfelt letter expressing her dedication as a mother, describing sleepless nights, hushed prayers, and her desire to raise her son with stability and faith. The letter read, "My baby is my reason to change, even though I may not be perfect. My son is everything to me. My heart can tell you that more clearly than any document ever could." The letter went viral. Celebrities retweeted it, fans took screenshots, and hashtags like #StandWithChrisEan began trending. For the first time, the public's perception of her changed from one of a chaotic, scandal-plagued figure to one of a young mother fighting a system that fails women like her far too often. Yet, despite the growing public sympathy, the ambiguity persisted because hashtags don't end court cases. They conclude with decisions, and the question that remained unchanged was, would the system step in or would she maintain custody? From a cinematic perspective, it was similar to the quiet before the Chrisean's latest song, which she released, is about motherhood rather than celebrity, Blueface, or controversy. In the gospel-infused ballad, she sang about battling demons, defending her child, and lifting generational curses. Fans described it as unadulterated, eerie, and unlike anything she had previously produced. Critics said the testimony was more important than the music, but in any case, it sent a message. She was taking back her narrative. The internet went viral again, and supporters cited it as proof of her growth, even though her critics accused her of using the baby as a marketing gimmick. One thing was clear: Chrisean Rock had once again turned suffering into performance, chaos into material, and controversy into a way to survive, but the real ending had not yet been written as this. Chapter's credits rolled. Would the court support her? Would Blueface be able to change custody? Would CPS step in again? Or would the next viral drama replace all of this in another headline? There is little doubt that the story of Chrisean Rock has moved beyond music and scandal. Legacy is at stake. The question that needs to be answered is whether she can change the narrative that the world has forced upon her. From troubled superstar to devoted mother, because it's possible that the shocking court documents revealed more than just accusations. They showed a woman who is at odds with the system. Her partner, her past, and herself and her son is the one thing she will never give up. As a result, we find ourselves on the verge of an unstoppable narrative. The shocking court documents have been made public, and the world is watching Chrisean Rock more closely than ever before. And the rumors are rife. The battle for her child, the battle with Blueface, and the battle with public opinion are only the beginning. What do you think? Is Chrisean Rock being singled out unfairly, or are the documents exposing a reality too unpleasant to ignore? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. Or will she rise from the ashes stronger, more resilient, and more determined than anyone could have imagined?